How much do you know about RENOCLEAN from FUCHS? Well, personally, I don't know that much. So today in the Tech Corner, I have an expert who's going to tell us all about it. Now, Jazz, before we get into RENOCLEAN, can you give us a little bit of background on yourself and working at FUCHS?
Of course, yes. So I've worked for the company now for 10 years. Can't believe it, 10 years. First initially based at a customer site. I was a resident chemist there. So I set up the lab there. I did all the routine checks, so all the coolant checks, the wash fluid checks. Did that for about a year, and then FUCHS decided, we'll put Jazz on the road. So that's what they did. So now I'm a technical specialist and visit other customers now, which I very much enjoy.
Now, it's nice to know you enjoy being out on the road, because I know some people don't.
Yeah.
Now, RENOCLEAN, what is it and what's it used for?
Yeah, so RENOCLEAN is our wash fluid range. So they're cleaners to wash off any components after metal working fluid process. So you can imagine if you've machined a component, soluble metal working fluid, or a neat oil, for instance, we have our cleaners then to wash off the soluble metal working fluid off. Yeah.
So how does RENOCLEAN differ from other products that are out there on the market?
Well, firstly, what makes FUCHS kind of unique is the fact that we have technical support on the road. So, for instance, if a customer wants to run one of our trials, our RENOCLEAN products, we have someone like myself there to support the customer with the trial, take samples, take them back to the lab, or solve any issues that they're having there.
So they're not just buying a product, they're buying a service with that product as well?
That's right, with that service. And also within the RENOCLEAN range, we do have a vast amount of products we can offer. So it's not just one cleaner for one customer. We look at all the applications, the material, the temperature, and for that we cater that with the RENOCLEAN range.
Yeah, so you were telling me before we started how temperature can actually change which product you use as well. So how does that work?
Yeah, so in our RENOCLEAN range, we do have products that cater for different temperatures. So I mentioned about different materials and possibly different applications, but there is specific cleaners for certain temperatures. So as an analogy, you can imagine washing your dishes, for instance. So you're putting some fairy liquid up and you've got cold water and you're immersing your dishes into the sink bath. You can imagine with cold water, it'll take a while to shift the food, the debris. However, if you're running with warmer water, for instance, it's going to clean a little bit more better with the temperature. So on the customer point of view, they might have wash machines out there that they'll come to me and say, I want to run at a lower temperature. It's a cost saving exercise we're doing for the company. And then we do have cleaners that cater for that. The reason being, if we have cleaners that are supposed to run at a high temperature and put in a machine that's supposed to be running at 20 degrees, we can have issues with foaming due to the detergency within the wash fluid.
But it's great that you just offer a full range for every eventuality. You've got something for it.
That's right. So, it depends on the application. It depends if it's an immersion wash machine, is it a spray machine? These are the questions I'll be asking the customers. Is it ultrasonic bath? What temperature are you running? What material? What's your end goal? Do you want corrosion protection at the end of it, or are you just happy with just a clean component?
So it's not just one size fits all. You have a range to solve any problem. Now, do you have a customer case study you could let us in on?
Yeah, so I can give you quite a few to be honest, but this one in particular, our customer came to us and said he wasn't happy with what corrosion protection he was getting out of his previous cleaner. So he went down on site, saw the application. As I said, it's important to know the temperature, the application and things like that. So he recommended a product, however it wasn't giving him enough corrosion protection he needed. So we actually designed a wash fluid there and there, bucket chemistry really, on the site. And we created a product called RENOCLEAN FSO 3005. And that kind of catered to his needs. He got corrosion protection 6 months plus out of that, and what he needed. I think that's probably a great example of a case study really. And not only that, obviously we provided support because it was a trial there. We collected samples once a week. We visited regularly to make sure the components were okay, and he was satisfied at the end of it.
And that brings me actually into my last question of service and support. But can I just say how amazing that is that you actually designed a new fluid on site? And I think that's what gives you an edge at FUCHS, is because of your chemistry background, you can just
do that. Yeah.
do what you need to do on site.
That's right.
What sort of training and support do people get in using your products?
Yeah, so with the RENOCLEAN range, there is particular checks that you need for HSE purposes, but also just to maintain the performance of the cleaner. So again, if you're running a trial, we don't just hand you over the product, we'll be over there catering for your trial. And we also provide training how to look after your cleaner. So we recommend clean outs, for instance. We'll provide training over the phone, on site. So as I mentioned, there's checks that we require for the cleaners, and that's acid titration. We check for bacteria, if it's a low temperature wash, and pH. Those are the main things. We set some parameters for the customer as well. And then, as I said, we don't just hand the product there. If they need us, they know where we are. We always get emails, we've got this issue, can you solve this? And that's where we come in, basically.
I like how people don't just ring you for a problem and you just say, here, use this. There's so many checks that go into providing the right solution for the right problem.
That's right.
Now, if anybody at home has been watching and would like to learn or know more about the products you've spoke about or other products you do at FUCHS, how can they get in contact with you? Yeah,
they can look up our webpage, that's fuchslubricants.co.uk, and from there we have obviously different tabs. There is a technical service there with an email address, and those emails will likely go to myself. They can call us, the number's on there. And we do have a lot of representatives out there on the field. So if you're lucky to catch us, obviously feel free to contact us. Yeah.
Well, Jazz, from me and everyone at MTD, thank you for your time. It's been great getting to know you and FUCHS on RENOCLEAN.
Thank you.